Something that I hear all the time, probably every day, is this, that humans don't live in nature. My question for people who say and believe that is, where then do you live? It seems like people are so dissociated that they can't even perceive themselves as existing in this world. It's like they think they're in some sort of pocket dimension or something. Those same people can't tell you the name of the species of grass that lives around their house, or the different species of insects, or birds, or flowers, or trees, or anything like that. Are those organisms any less a part of this world? All the materials in your home, your clothes, your chairs, your tables, your computers, your food, everything in there is part of nature. It comes from the earth. Everyone lives in a unique part of the world. No part of the world is the same as the other. You've got your own little slice of nature of this world. It's no less sacred than any other part of the world. That little slice, you should cultivate and take care of it. Other people are going to live there one day. It should always be taken care of. It doesn't matter if you own that space or not. You probably don't even believe in ownership, but you should take care of it. You don't live in the internet or social issues or current events or the news or television. You live where you live. You live in the world. People are worried about the economy and politics and current events, social issues and cultural issues. But you're worried about the wrong cultures. You should be worried about the cultures growing in your bathroom, in your pillows, in your clothes, in your ceilings, on your food. Those are the cultures you should be worried about. Stop dissociating and start cultivating your environment. Living anywhere in this world, you have a responsibility to take care of it. That's just how it goes. You have mold and mildew growing everywhere in your home. You have to fix it. You want to live in nature, but you can't even clean your laundry machine, your filters, your vents, your ducts, your fridge, your trash, your yard, anything like that. All those kinds of things. And you can learn how those things work. You can learn the mechanisms of why these things, all the things you live around, and you don't know why they were invented or how they were invented or where the materials come from or just anything like that. That's all part of this world. It's all part of nature. People are sleeping on moldy mattresses and their pillows are moldy and their clothes are moldy. Regular laundry detergent isn't going to get rid of that stuff. For the most part, people would just sun everything, especially after the winter when you were kept inside a lot, people would sun it. A few hours of sunlight would destroy most of the spores and mycelium growing in people's clothes and mattresses and whatnot. Unless you've got like a homestead, you probably don't have access to sunlight like that. So you could use essential oils for your laundry. You can just put a few drops of something in your laundry detergent or dryer balls, or you could incense your clothes and your mattresses and stuff like that. Obviously make sure it's something antifungal. Clove and tea tree and peppermint and frankincense and just dozens and dozens of other antifungal essential oils or plant resins for incense. This is nothing unique to you. Humans have had to deal with this with cleaning their homes for thousands of years since we started building homes. The way that they dealt with the microbial world around them is through folklore. You can study the folklore of any culture. It more or less all reads the same. There's these tiny invisible house spirits and deities, and sometimes they're mischievous, sometimes they're benevolent. You have household deities or ancestral deities that can protect your house and your family's health and all of your materials and objects. And likewise, there's all these other spirits, and they can turn your clothes moldy, they can make you forget things, they can make you misplace things, they can lead to irritability, they can lead to fire damage, water damage. Humans have always understood that there's these invisible forces that are alive and intelligent that you can commune and interact with in different ways, and so that's what they're describing with folklore and religion ultimately. Of course, the way they dealt with them is by offerings and by using different antimicrobial and antifungal products and plants and woods and metals. That's why things like gold, silver, and copper were used in religious offerings and icons, because they were rust resistant, they were antimicrobial. And the same goes for different types of woods and plants, and it's just every single culture has their own version of that because it's slightly different based on their location and language and interpretation, but it's all still the microbial. Like I said, you could study any folklore. I'll just give this example. I've given it before of Jewish folklore from the Barako, where they say that if the eye was given permission to see, no creature would be able to withstand the abundance and ubiquity of the demons and continue to live unaffected by them. It goes on to say that each and every one of us has 1,000 demons to his left and 10,000 to his right. God protects man from these demons, as it says in the verse. 1,000 may fall at your side and 10,000 at your right hand. They will not approach you. That is, last part is from Psalms. They talk about fatigue in the knees, like arthritis and just lethargy. They also talk about those clothes of the sages that wear out, despite the fact that they do not engage in physical labor, is from friction with these demons. Those feet that are in pain is from the demons. It's all just mold and mildew. Which is why they used incense and these offerings to these gods and these deities and to these folk creatures. You could list off hundreds of them: nissas and kobolds and fairies and leprechauns and demons and dogomois and dibuks and yokais. They all have different functions, and some of them are pure good, some of them are pure evil, some of them are just, they have different roles in the house, and there are different ways of personifying different elements of these microorganisms and what was kind of relevant to the culture and to a family or household's interpretation of if something was seen as good or bad. Just study fungus and study folklore and you'll see what I'm talking about. Even something like a prayer to St. Anthony, you have this appeal to some force that will make you remember where you put your keys or your wallet. The historian Claude Lacouteau, he writes a lot of folk books. He's a medieval historian, but he can summarize it a lot better than I can. A house is much more than a building. It is a microcosm, a living being with both a body and a soul. It speaks, even if its language is only creaking and cracking noises for the profane. That soul of the house, I believe, is the microbial in that house, and folklore and stuff and house spirits were ways of personifying that. The natural question you may have is, how do people know this? How did they figure this out? They didn't have microscopes. Other than through observation of cause and effect, like food spoilage and mildew growth and things like that, that they personified, humans have a natural way of sensing the microscopic world around us, and that is through our sense of smell. Humans have one of the strongest noses in the entire animal kingdom. We can smell 1 trillion different smells, and we can memorize tens of thousands of them. All that storage in your brain is for compartmentalizing the different scents that you have. You can know and train yourself to know every ingredient in a food, every bit of pollen and where it comes from and where and how far it's coming from. All the things that we train a dog to do, humans can learn just as well. You can smell when there's mold or when there's bacteria, and you can smell the different species of them. You just have to train the smell and associate it with the name. Smell is our strongest link to memory and our strongest link to learning and language. I believe that's why humans evolved language, was so that we could name and associate different smells with different things. Because if you smell something toxic, you would be able to have that memory of it and you have a name associated with it, so you can tell yourself or tell your buddy that, hey, this is something toxic. That's I guess a topic for another time, but that's where I think language comes from and why we have so much storage in our brains. It's because you're keeping track of the microscopic world around you. People pretty consistently describe 2 different sources of instinct. One is your gut instinct, that would be your microbiome, and then you have your 6th sense, I believe, that would be your nose, and smelling the microscopic world around you. I haven't seen this anime, but I know he has like a power where he can smell people's like actions and intentions. That's not unique. That's basically every human can learn how to do that. That's your instincts, right? Your 6th sense. It's through the nose that you're physically absorbing the microscopic world around you, in the same way that our eyes are absorbing the light. Reconnect with your sense of smell and start to train and learn all the different smells in your environment and the world around you, and then that's how you can help to figure out where you have sources of impurity or unholiness, as it would have been described by religion and folk, right? It's interesting too, there's been cases of people being able to smell different diseases and cancers in people, right? Because it's all about what's going on the microscopic level, and every human has a unique smell. That's why no perfume will affect the same person twice. Thanks for watching.